afternoon and welcome to Health Shift with Russell Regional Hospital. Today we are with Andy Herla, who is an athletic trainer through our physical therapy department, and he's going to share with us a little bit of what he does with Russell High School and USD 407 in general. So welcome, Andy, to our show.
Great, thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about what you do with the students.
Well, it's all kind of all-encompassing. As an athletic trainer, the first misnomer is that, yes, I am a healthcare provider.
Yes.
A lot of folks, they hear that term trainer and they think, the personal trainer at the gym, but I do share a lot of those skill sets. I've got a much varied skill set beyond that. So the first thing is I'm a healthcare provider, licensed by the State Board of Medical Examiners, as well as my national certification.
Okay.
But, as an athletic trainer, we're in charge of and responsible for the overall health of the athletes or the individual in our charge, because athletic trainers work in a lot of other various settings as well.
Okay.
So starting off, right away with the preseason injury prevention stuff, physicals, identifying issues that need to be taken care of beforehand.
Okay.
Pre-practice preparation and planning, and there's a lot of planning that goes involved, as well as that on-site early intervention, recognition, and injury management. And then on the backside with the rehabilitation side and returning the athlete or that individual or patient back to play and back to activity. So it's kind of before the season even starts and after the season ends, I'm working with the athletes, under my care throughout the entire process.
That's great. And is this a contract through the hospital and the USD or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, currently Russell Regional and USD 407, we've had this partnership for coming up on 14 years now.
Great.
That was the purpose I was brought to Russell Regional Hospital, was to start this relationship and fill that need gap. And we've been able to continue that through the years. It's changed a little bit over time, but it's been pretty consistent.
Good.
So it's that I'm on site at the school 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm here through the duration of practice to handle anything that may have come up the day before or things like that. Then I'm also on site for all varsity football. I travel on the away games with the football team, and then I'm here in the gyms of Amos Morris for all the home basketball games and any wrestling activities that we have.
Okay.
And then when we get into some of the other sports, I'm on call and available to the coaches if something were to come up. Since I'm local, just nearby, it's not a big deal for me to say, hey, somebody got hurt, can you come take a look? And, I'm always available to them to come do that.
Okay. Thinking about athletic training in general, it's been in the news a lot, post NFL and post Super Bowl. So tell us a little bit about current trends that we saw with injuries that happened to some of the NFL players and where athletic training played into that. Okay.
So the big thing that's been in the news lately, of course, is Damar Hamlin with the Buffalo Bills and his injury. And when we talk about that from the athletic training perspective, a lot of times in the news it's been described as, some type of heroic effort. But from our perspective, heroic is not the appropriate word. Okay. What happened there was a practiced and planned out response to something that we've considered previously, and we've made contingency plans and talked out, both as athletic training staffs and other medical professionals, how we're going to handle that situation. And so that's what occurred right there.
Right.
Bill's assistant athletic trainer, Denny Canlington, he was, immediately on the field, made the recognition, and started that emergency action plan in process.
Yes.
Of course, he started with administering CPR and bringing all those resources to bear. That's something I do here at Russell High School.
Yes.
I've written those plans. I've coordinated with EMS. I've talked to the coaches and educated them on how we're supposed to do those sort of things. And we've had to implement the emergency plan in some minor cases relative, but that is a consistent thing that any athletic training staff is going to do across the country, regardless of setting.
And how about the injuries with Patrick Mahomes and getting him ready at halftime so he could come back out and win a Super Bowl?
In the athletic training circles, we of course we have our chat groups and things, so we talk about things. But we were really happy to see that Patrick Mahomes recognized assistant athletic trainer Julie Feiermeyer for being the person who took the lead and delivered the care and the rehab protocols to get him ready for that AFC Championship game, and then continuing to the Super Bowl. And then I've even seen recently this picture of after he re-injured his ankle, putting his head on the shoulder of head athletic trainer Rick. I can't think of his last name right now. But, and that's the type of relationship that we have with our athletes. We spend a lot of time with them.
Yes.
Some of them we spend a lot of time with them.
Yes.
Other ones, I may only know by a first name. But it's that bond that we develop with our athletes or patients.
Yes.
That's really important. So they feel they trust us, and also they know that we have their best interest at heart.
Yes.
And that's true. These are, I'm at the point now, I've been here 14 years. I've literally seen all these kids grow up.
Yes.
And that's fun for me. But it also, I have that investment in them, both as a community person and as a healthcare provider.
Right.
I have their best interests at heart. I want to see them succeed, but I want them to succeed safely.
Yes. In working with the student athletes, do you feel that having someone like you working with them on an ongoing basis helps them prevent injuries as well as recover faster? Mm-hmm. Just learning right away the practices that need to be put into place to stay healthy?
Mm-hmm. Part of that is we do a lot of education, both with coaching staff and with athletes. Okay. I've had coaches come talk to me, and it's like, hey, can you give me some advice? We're running out of energy. What are some things we could do? So we talk about maybe some nutritional supplementation, good choices for snacking between matches or games.
Yes.
Of course, the pregame meal sort of thing. So they ask for my input in that.
Good.
And, stress that to the athletes also, especially when they have the early morning practice. It's like, yes, it's an early morning practice, but you need to get up and eat something.
Yes.
And get those calories on board so you have that energy. Additionally, I work a lot with the coaches. When I start to see an injury trend or when we start to see something,
yes,
they'll ask for, or I'll give them my input and some changes we can make. We did that this past season with football.
Good.
We always tend to have the early season cramping issues, but
right.
We already had in place, the hydration piece. We already had in place the nutrition piece. So then we had to kind of look at what their physical demands were on the field versus in practice. And so we had to make some changes in there and change our practice format a little bit to get them a little more prepared for the game situation. And we were able to curb our cramping a little bit. And we were able to have a very successful season with some of those changes.
Great. What's your favorite part of doing this partnership with the school? What's your favorite part of being their trainer?
I borrowed this from a friend of mine, a colleague, and he's like, I get to watch kids play sports. I get to watch these youngsters come in. I also work some with the middle school as well.
Right.
And so I get to watch them grow and develop, and I get to see both the athlete and the person that they get to develop into. And I think that's really cool. Yes. I've done a lot with youth sports. I've coached my own sons in baseball and softball. I was an umpire, so I get a chance to see these athletes in a variety of settings here and around the community, and just to watch them grow and develop and mature and be successful in those things. That's what's fun for me.
Yes. So anybody that might be watching that has an interest in sports medicine or athletic training, any advice that you would offer them to, whether it's schooling or getting experience, job shadowing, where would you have them start at?
Definitely for a high school student, if they have any inkling into a medical profession, go ahead and take those biologies, take that medical terminology class that might be offered.
Okay.
But then look for some opportunities to go do some job shadowing. Most healthcare professionals, love to share what we do.
Yes.
Whether it's just, a shadowing in the clinic setting or coming to the sideline and kind of seeing what I do before games, go ahead and shadow and look at that. And then you can kind of figure out along the way kind of what you want to do. Also, kind of consider what you want to do after graduation from high school as well.
Sure.
Athletic training has changed in recent years. It shifted from a 4-year bachelor's degree to a master's degree.
Okay.
So that's changed a little bit. But we think we're getting a better quality student entering into that program. It gives the opportunity for a lot of students who have participated in college sports, because it was very few athletic trainers that I know were able to compete in college sports and do athletic training at the same time.
Right.
Now that it's a master's program, they have that opportunity. They can go and compete in the sport of their choice and then transition to a master's degree program. But at the same time, there's a lot of other healthcare fields in the sports medicine. We call it the sports medicine team.
Okay.
And of course, as athletic trainers, the way we draw it, we're in the middle of it. But we're integrating, we're constantly communicating with physicians, therapists, nutritionists, coaches, parents, athletes. So that's why we put ourselves in the center of it, is because we're that cross communication, between these various specialties.
Right.
When we see an issue, it's like, oh, well, we need to bring in this resource. But there's a lot of other careers where you can, be part of a sports medicine team and a sports medicine program.
Anything else about what the position you have at the hospital at physical therapy, as well as working with the school district, that you want to share?
This has been, initially when I first came about 14 years ago, it was, kind of this is what I told the former administrator, thanks for taking a chance on me. Because that's a big ask of an administrator, to fund a position, to do something that, just in the dollars and cents, probably isn't the best financial decision to make. But it's a commitment to the community. And I've been blessed that I've been able to stay here, and administrators have seen the value of what I do here in the community and for the youth of Russell County, and they value that.
Yes.
And so, if we look at the dollars cents again today, the hospital's still probably in the negative on that. But just the added value of, I have a lot of family members and even some spectators who will come up and say, thank you for being there. Thank you for being that person who's there, to handle, even if it was, somebody's a little bobo or bruise. Thank you for being there to take care of that.
Right.
And now that athletic training and sports medicine needs are more well addressed in the public in general, there's a lot of parents that really see and recognize the need to have that person there to handle these things and make sure that their child is participating in a safe environment.
I think that's a great example of healthcare and partnering with the school district, as far as that return on investment may not always be in dollars and cents, but it is in someone's health. And so down the road, there is that investment that pays off. And so I think that's a great example of how you have to invest and look at health and our community and have those partnerships. What are you looking forward to most as we close out basketball season and wrestling is starting to go to state?
Yeah, and we're wrapping up the fall sports season. Spring sports is right around the corner. It means I get to get outside and enjoy some sunshine for a little bit.
Yes.
But track season on the downside, track season brings some chronic issues I don't like dealing with. But it's a lot more fun. We get outside. The kids get to do a lot of the things that they enjoy, and also the pace kind of slows down.
Yes.
Just a little bit. But, it's a great way to wrap up the school year with these spring sports.
Yes.
Hopefully the weather cooperates and we're able to, get everything in close to on schedule. But, track meets and baseball games and softball games, they're a lot of fun to be at. I just enjoy, being around. This is when the kids, get some downtime a little bit, and the pace is a little slower, so it's a lot more fun.
So how can people get a hold of you if they have any questions about physical therapy or sports training? What's the best way for folks to reach you?
Probably the best way to reach me is at the hospital in the physical therapy department. Our direct number there is 785-483-0740. That's direct into the therapy office where I work, during the day before I come out to the school.
Okay, thank you for joining us today, Andy. We appreciate it.
Great, thank you very much.
This will conclude our third session of the Health Shift. And go ahead and go on YouTube and subscribe to our channel and give us a like and keep sharing our stories. Thank you.